Hey y'all, Unbreakable here. We've got a lot of coaches in this community, so I wanted to take an opportunity to bring some of them together to talk about the benefits of coaching, things to look for, things that they might offer, how it could help you. So I'm excited to bring this to you.
All right, y'all. I welcome you all. We are recording at this point. I welcome you all to the Coaches Chat with Unbreakable. As we were just discussing, I want to give each of you an opportunity to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your coaching business that you offer, as well as what certifications you hold. I also want to know what your purpose is for being here. Melina, let's go ahead and let you go first, honey.
Okay. Hi. Um, my name is Melania.
That's right. I
I
pronounced it wrong.
that's okay. Um, I'm kind of nervous, as you guys can tell, but I have multiple certifications. I feel like I should do it in reverse to share my why that I'm doing this, because then it may, kind of help understand about all the certifications that I have. My why is I'm an actual survivor from childhood abuse to domestic violence, sexual assault, um, and post separation abuse, narcissistic abuse. That is still kind of ongoing, but I am now in a different state. So I discovered that there was a lack of opportunity or a lack of awareness or a lack of support in dealing with narcissistic abuse and post separation abuse. The counseling that was suggested to me just did not work. It didn't work on any level at all. In fact, I felt like it made my personal situation worse. Um, as I was completing my trauma therapy, my actual trauma therapist said to me that I would be a good fit for somebody to turn around and reach back and help other people. That made me nervous because it seemed like a huge responsibility to do so, but at the same time, I don't wish anyone the experiences that I've had. So my why is my own situation, but watching my kids and then how it affected them and myself and my personal life, my actual career in the corporate world before I came here, and then not having that support that was needed. And with that being said, I have certification as a somatic practitioner. Started that because I learned that talk therapy is great, but I also learned that I'm holding the trauma, in my body. And that was an actual piece that, helped me to heal fully, although healing is a continuous process. So I have certification as a trauma informed yoga teacher, yoga therapy. So I'm also a certified yoga therapist, and I'm currently in school as an Ayurvedic practitioner. I utilize all of those things to kind of work and help somebody wholly, not just physically but mentally and emotionally, and if there's a spiritual component, that as well. I have a certification right now as a clinical medical assistant, and then certification as a psychiatric mental health technician. So that is the gist of it there.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Something that I want to touch on, and we're going to get to everybody, something that I do want to touch on with regards to that is I wholeheartedly agree with you. We hold our trauma within our bodies. We can heal, work on healing this, but there's so much more that goes with it, right? I think if all of us here are survivors or have dealt with trauma in one way or another, we know we hold it within our body. So this can start to feel better. Yet I know I've said it before when I'm online, like I didn't realize for the longest time that I was constantly like this. I just didn't realize it. It was just kind of, being clenched up, excuse me, all the time just became a common state. So thank you, Millennia. Millennia, is that correct?
Millennia, yes, like the
Millennia.
millennium. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And let's just set the precedent, guys. We're just having a conversation. Okay. I know it's easier said than done because I do it all the time. Here comes someone else who I'm so glad that she's here. I say it, I'm online all the time. So it's kind of become second nature for me to just kind of be in front of a camera and talk. I want y'all to kind of just ground yourself where you're at, realize this is just us having a conversation. The nerves are going to come. It's okay. We're real, raw, open, and honest, right? All right. Ranjit, am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
Go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
So I also am a survivor. I think that's like pretty common. I think that we'll find that to be pretty common amongst all of us. Familial and relational. So I got both spectrums of it. So during that process, I went through like a you're not good enough, so we have to be better phase. So then I started working on myself, and then I kind of dropped the I need to prove myself to the person. So during that time, I got certified as a personal trainer, yoga teacher, health coach. I went through CLCI to get like a life coaching certificate, which will help me work towards like ICF credentialing. Um, I don't really have anything specific to narcissistic abuse, but I did spend about 4 years studying it personally. I am currently working on a course through PESI, which is I think a psychotherapy something. It's an online portal that my friend sent me. So Dr. Ramani Darvasula has like a certification course there. It's a master's level clinician course, but I'm just taking it for the educational part. As far as like my coaching goes, I use essentially a support group, a free support group where I just in my community and word of mouth, I get to talk to people. I've helped DV clients, I've helped narcissistic abuse clients. Sometimes those go hand in hand, most times those go hand in hand. And so with that, I interact with people on a personal level and actually direct them to the free support group. And I believe on my page I have it updated. Like I haven't charged anybody for one-on-one like coaching. So I don't really want to make money off of it. I do leave it open for donation, but like for this, a lot of those people don't have the resources to escape. So through my support group, the Empowerment Circle, I also launched an escape bag program. So basically I build escape bags, take in donations, and then I've delivered those out to like police and local resources, CADA in my area. And so that's pretty much what I do. And I really try to like reach out to people on a personal level, talk in person as much as I can. I take my knowledge and then I apply it to essentially educate. So I don't really do a lot of in the past. I focus on educating the individual, the client, the person that I'm talking to, so that way they can identify manipulation tactics and work themselves out of the situation.
Wonderful. Thank you for being here so much. As a male survivor, I also invite you. We have another Zoom call for our male survivors today at 3 p.m. Central Time. It's also posted on the page. I invite you to that. We're offering a safe space to our male survivors to come in and interact with each other and be supported and uplifted. I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much. I'm going to make a quick introduction for someone who is off camera, and you're totally fine staying off camera. I know exactly who this person is. This is actually my moderator who is on with us right now. She is my moderator in the subscription community. She is also the attorney for Unbreakable and Uplifting. She is also my chosen family now. So Sarah Beth's here with us. She is fine to stay off camera, Lovey. I love you. Talk to you later. Nancy, let's go with you, honey.
It is an honor to be here. Thank you so much. My certification is trauma for pediatric and for adults. I also am part of ICF for the International Federation of Coaching. I am certified in narcissistic abuse and went to school for more than 3 years for it. I am a survivor of 25 years with a covert narcissist, which is what caused me to turn that situation into something to help others. I also coach all first responders, paramedics, firefighters for free for life because they see a lot of trauma too. And so I also take care of teens and help them cope because one of the things that people don't understand is it's not just a relational situation. It could be a parent, it could be be anybody. And in that, they are really confused as to where to go. And so giving them a safe space to go, hey, we'll just sit on the floor and chat. Let's do it. So my coaching style is very casual. We're very just, let's do this, whether it's a Zoom call, I'll meet you, whatever we can do to do that. I'm on camera a lot too. And so very comfortable with that. This community mattered to me because when you first put your first video up, I was probably the third one that found you and said, wow, we really need this. And it's something that is such an honor to be able to be here. I would not charge anybody from this group at all for anything, period. And that part matters because they need to know that they have a safe space and a voice that will not only stand up, but will listen and understand.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm bringing to the table and why this matters so much to me.
Oh, thank you for being here. And thanks for chatting with me last night in messages. I do
You're welcome.
read every message. I say it all the time. I read
Yeah,
every message. Emma, let's go with you, sweetheart.
Hi, Dan. Thank you for having me. So yeah, oh God, my nerves come in then. I was doing really well until
Okay.
yeah, so I'm a J Walsh coaching. I got my own story. My mother was very narcissistic. I didn't actually know that until I had my own toxic relationship after endless cycles of being with cheaters, you know, feeling like I was on a dead end road. And I got into this 5-year relationship. And there was another woman involved for 3 of those years. There was physical violence that looked like play, like play fighting. And at the time, I didn't realize any of this was going on until another woman was involved. And, I thought I needed to be better for this person. So I went to go to a life coach to look at actually what I needed to do because it was my trust issues that were the problem, of course. And yeah, I started to learn about narcissistic abuse. And in that relationship, I also suffered a sexual assault. And inside that time, instead of him supporting me, I was the problem. It was my fault for that sexual assault. So I suffered a lot of trauma in that. And all of that brought me to wanting to help others. I was a farmer before. I always wanted to help other people. And I thought if I was feeding the world, I was, helping people in my own little way. But it wasn't where I felt my sole purpose was. And I came into this space with more knowledge about narcissistic abuse, understanding it coming from a parent dispute. And I came to realize that there was a couple of things, especially in my own journey of working on myself, was one, we can never stop this kind of behavior. We can't ever stop narcissistic abuse. But what we can do is work to support people to notice the signs earlier. They can pass that on to their children, and we can stop generational trauma as people helping people. And that is so exciting, knowing that okay, we can't cut it out at the source, but we can cut it out from home. So for me, it's really about working with that childhood trauma and the trauma of what you suffered, with that compassion, that kindness, and knowing that you're not alone on this journey. And it's normal. What you are going through is very, very normal. And inside that, supporting you to refine your worth, knowing that you are worthy, you are lovable, and actually coming to a point of a healthy relationship. I'm very fortunate. I've had the toxic relationship. I'm now in a very, very healthy relationship. And, navigating that transition is also important to me because it supports you with those challenges of knowing that you're not just going to go into a relationship and your boundaries are going to be in place. They take work to build inside that relationship. And for me personally, like someone else was just speaking about traditional talk therapies. Personally, I didn't find that it worked. You're sitting in a room watching the clock, and it can feel uncomfortable for many people. And ultimately, I built this brand because I want to create a foundation. I want to create not just a foundation to support people, but a space where something like this where people who are suffering can come in, they can speak with trauma-informed people, they can have sessions immediately, because in the UK we have to have wait lists, and these wait lists can be very long, and that's not okay, because by the time you come to dealing with it, you shut it down so much. So my aim is to create something like that that actually provides that space. But where I am now, I'm a CBT. I have a diploma in CBT therapy. I have an NLP course, which I'm currently in studies for. I'm also doing embodied processing. So that's working with our trauma and internal world, which after my own sexual assault, I'm addressing that trauma myself in this time and using that process too. So that is my own journey. What you said about tensing up, I found that with my own partner now I'm in a safe space and I can do this. That was happening and I didn't realize it. So
Yeah.
that is another journey that I'm on now, which I can't wait to help other people with. So that embodied processing is going to be super exciting to help others. But on top of that, I also have root cause therapy through the Centre for Healing alongside a trauma-informed course. So yeah, thank you so much for having me. I've shared a lot, but thank
That's
you.
okay. That's all right, Emma. Thank you so much, and thank you for being here. Robin, you're up, sweetheart.
Hi, everyone. I really have found your page and it has helped me so much. And I just really appreciate you and for inviting me on here. And I think we all have very similar experiences. It seems like being in kind of a narcissistic society and a home, like I grew up that way with my parents. We have this need to prove ourselves. And so I definitely I definitely kept going to school. I became a teacher, so I was in a helping profession, and I think that's part of it as well. Is like I found my worth by working with children who loved me unconditionally, and I was able to give that to them too. So I had this long history and experience of teaching, 25 years, and I was in a marriage with a pretty narcissistic man, and I didn't realize it until 2 years after I got away from him. It was like, oh, and all these things came to light, like the whole entire pattern of being drawn to people like that and wanting to give them the benefit of the doubt, just like I did all my little students, but those are children. And of course, they're going to be learning and growing. And to expect the same from an adult who never is going to change. It took a while for me to figure that out. And so I think we all become experts on narcissism, whether we wanted to or not. It was like, oh, this is what's going on. And so after realizing a lot of that, I was trying to fix my relationship, and I found the relationship school with Jason Gaddis, and I was watching all of his work and went to a few of his courses and became certified as a relationship coach. It took 9 months. It wasn't like a quick weekend adventure. We did a lot of internal work ourselves, and I know that I didn't learn what a relationship is supposed to be like. And so this is what I want to help people to do, is to connect deeply with each other in a way that we can help each other heal all of our traumas that can come up, and they're always going to come up in an intimate partnership. I've done a lot of that work myself, practicing mostly with my daughters who are dealing with their dad and recovering, from his control over them. And I just want to help more people with that. And it can be their relationships with their children, with their friends, with their partners. Even just getting back into dating can bring up a lot of things. So that's why I'm here. And I just so appreciate you so much.
Thank you. I like that you kind of elaborated that. I think that a lot of times I've made this mistake myself. I think a lot of times someone will see relationship coach and they will perceive that as this will fix my relationship with whomever the toxic person is, right? And it's not necessarily about that. It's
No.
learning how to be in a relationship with everyone around you in a healthy relationship.
Yes.
It's not going to fix your abuser.
No.
I can't tell you how much money I spent thinking I can fix this relationship. You
Yes.
know, they get
Yes.
us. They get us, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It's the magic pill. And I paid hundreds and
Mm.
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars for all of these online courses thinking it's going to fix my relationship. It's not,
Yes.
not what we're about. I see
Yes.
all of us here. That's not what we're about. I appreciate everyone being here. Really quick before we start jumping into kind of just some roundtable chat. Ranjit, are you online? Do you offer your coaching and training online, or is it by location only?
So I do it online. So like you can go to my website, it's linked in the chat, and then you can book online. I don't have like the free option online. So what I do is I direct them to the support group, which I also do online or in person.
Okay.
And then if they want to do one-on-one, then they can go to my website and book.
Perfect. And as far as in person, where are you located?
I'm located on Whidbey Island in Washington State.
Okay, perfect. And Nancy, are you online?
I'm online. I sent you a link for the website. They can book, they can do whatever they want. If they want to meet, I am in Chattanooga, Tennessee. But if they need anything, I mean, I flew to Texas over the weekend for someone.
All right, perfect. And Emma, you mentioned you're in the UK. Are you online?
Yes, darling. Yeah, I'll pop you an email with my website. But if anybody wants to find me on Instagram, I'm also on there as well, and Facebook. So yeah, that's not a problem.
Perfect. And Robin, how about you? Where are you located? Are you online?
I do offer services online, and I'm also in person in Denver, Colorado.
Okay,
as
perfect.
well.
Thank you. I want to make sure that we make that clear for anybody who is watching this. I want to talk about, I would love to hear y'all's input. We've seen so much in the media about coaches. And of course, we know the media is the bad coaches. Let's have an open conversation about this. Somebody tell me your thoughts on what we have seen and how that can misrepresent our mission. Somebody jump in there.
I'll jump in. I think that just because you have the title of coach, if you have not, like for me, it took over 2 years of school, doesn't mean that you have done that, not only the interior work for yourself before you go talk to someone, that you're healthy and in a safe space, but that you have the skills that people are going to need, especially in this community, in terms of listening. Where listening and hearing, those are two different avenues right there. And just because you does not mean that you actually heard what they said or that they even know how to articulate. So it's something where you just have to be patient with them and have that empathy if they don't know what they want to say. And so the problem with the coaches, whether they're talking in their car or whatever it is, hey, I went to coaching school for an hour and a half. The problem is that they are going to give advice to people that are not going to help them and might actually hurt them. And that's my concern.
Emma, go ahead.
Yeah, I hear that. And I think what's frustrating is seeing things like manifest your soulmate and, do this but not actually giving people the full information. Like manifesting, that frustrates me because and it's not true. It's ultimately it's your own RAS system. It's neuroscience. It's saying, okay, I want this, but I also need to do the work on my boundaries. I need to do the work on my self-worth. It's got nothing. And I think that is such a misguided conception that leads people down such a toxic path to only make them. Like, I was one of those people once and it makes you feel worse because it's not okay. You can't, and this is frustrating. There is so many people that come into the online space wanting to do a quick sale, but actually you're putting out information that is toxic, and that is not okay. You know, be honest. Just say, look, in order to get X, you need to work on your boundaries. You need to deal with that trauma, because that's what's gonna, you know, make you attracted to that person who is more safer, who is more secure, who, you know, doesn't activate your nervous system, rather than, you know, chasing something that is just science. And that is wrong, you know. And I think that's the thing. If you've got someone that's saying, manifest this, or you should be doing this, without being able, like a lot of the work I do, I back it up with psychology. If I don't know it, I'm going to research it to back it up with psychology, so that people as well have that kindness and compassion, when they can understand, actually my brain was doing what it knew how to do in that moment, instead of just saying, you know, oh, I acted in this way. Like, no, this is why you acted in this way. Like, give yourself a break, because it's okay. Like, you weren't doing it on purpose. Like, you were doing it from a place of safety. And that's, for me personally, where I find is so wrong, that people are looking for a quick, thinking that they can sell people a quick fix. You know, healing is, especially from this kind of abuse, it is not a quick fix. It's not a 3-month job and it's done. It's a year on year, and it is consistent, because they say, what's it, dogs, children, and relationships bring up all your trauma. So, and that, and it is, and that's the thing. And you know, we are consistently healing. We have consistent triggers that are always going to need that support. So it's a, I think if you've got a good coach, and a coach that genuinely cares, they're there to support you, they're there to listen, they're there to understand, but more importantly, they're there to give you the tools that, even after you've done the work on the trauma, even after you've released the emotion, that you've got that tool for life. So if something activates again, you can sit and say, right, I did this, I'm going to sit and do that again, so that you're not having to go back into, you know, more coaching and more coaching. And that's where it's wrong. I mean, I'm sure everybody here has had it, where you've gone to a coach to start your business or to do something, and they've led you down a path that's just enough there, but yet you still need another 6. And that's where it's wrong.
Yeah.
You should be able to
Money,
start some.
Money,
Yeah.
exactly.
All money.
Exactly.
This
And-
course,
Yeah.
that course, yeah.
Yeah, Ranjit, I heard you mention, you know, that a lot of what you do, you don't charge, or, you know, or you do by donation. Speak to me on what you've seen, what your experience has been on the coaches. And I hate doing that, because in talking with all of y'all right now, I consider you true, valid, valuable coaches, but there are those out there. Talk to me about what you've seen in your space with the coaches who are re-victimizing victims financially. Tell me
So-
what you've seen, Ranjit.
when I see like somebody that offers like a guaranteed solution, when I see somebody that talks about my pricing package, like my pricing package on my page is pretty steep. However, I direct them to the free version first, right? And then even if they do come to me in the support group and they want to go one-on-one, I'm like, hey, you know, like I'm not going to charge you for this, like right up front.
Mm-hmm.
So when I see, like, there's a lot of people on YouTube, I even have a YouTube, you know, like a podcast that I do with somebody else, but like everything that I try to do is to put out information to be helpful. I don't really want or expect anything in return in that realm. Where they start to fall off is where they have the, like, if you pay this much, and then it's like a constant cycle. You'll see this with like even like licensed psychologists, where they will sit there and it will just be like I think it was Evan said, just enough to get you to the next session, and then you have to keep coming back. It's like a subscription service for, you know, success that may never come.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where that irks me. But also, a lot of people that need the help that we offer, they don't have the resources to escape. Either they're suffering from like a complete and total control scheme, or there's somebody that has several components of control, including financial dependence,
Yes.
completely. So there's somebody that I work with. Every once in a while, she contacts me when she can, but she's like stuck because this person has complete financial control, monitoring, it almost has like a birth cycle control on this individual to keep them stuck.
Mhm.
So coaching that says, hey, I can do this for you is wrong.
I agree. I agree. It makes me think of the old infomercials. I'm aging myself. I've never lied about my age. I had to ask my son how old I think I'm 55. The old infomercials that used to play. But wait, there's more. You know,
We should put that there.
I was contacted, I get contacted all the time, right? I have 1.6 million followers on Facebook. I've got, trickles of followings on all my other platforms, but I get contacted all the time. Hey, why don't you drop this on your website for us? Hey, why don't you advertise this on your page for us? And most of the time I'll go out and see what it is. Because if it's something that's going to benefit my community, absolutely, I'm gonna absolutely share that. You guys, if you've been around my page, I share other content creator stuff. I advertise people's books. I don't charge a dime for any of it. None of it. Because if it's something that will help someone else, I want it in front of this space. I had this gentleman, I think it was, contact me. He's a divorce coach. A divorce coach. And I looked at his website and I talked about this on a live one day. I was disgusted. I was disgusted with the thousands of dollars that he was charging to assist you to get through your divorce. Okay, especially for us victims, Ranjit, as you said it, especially for us as we just get out, especially those of us who have experienced financial abuse, especially of those of us who are being drugged through the coals financially. Like, we can barely, if ever, afford an attorney. You think I've got a couple extra $1,000 laying around that I'm going to give to a divorce coach? Like, no, that's what my attorney's supposed to do. I understand, being a safe space for people. I understand wanting to help people, but domestic violence and abuse and trauma is not a fad. It is not a fad, and it is not something to profit financially off of.
Yeah.
I don't charge anybody anything on my page, nothing. And I pay every month to keep my page going. There are costs that I incur every month to keep my page going. The only thing that I charge for is my private subscription community. And I think I have 20 people in there. So I make this much. And what I do make goes to this person who's not on camera right now because she's my moderator and she helps me run that thing. I don't do this for the cost, for the money. And it sounds like we're all in that same place. We are doing this out of the realization that there is a need. There is a need for a safe space. There is a need for a soft landing place. I don't think any of us disagree that talk therapy works,
Yes.
right? But I say it all the time, therapists are like shoes. You got to keep trying them on until you find the right one, right?
Yes.
I don't think any of us disagree with that. But I'm hearing from each of you that the ability to kind of have that extra safe place, that extra one-on-one support, that extra I've been there
Right.
experience, that Lord knows I sing my therapist praises all day, every day. I've been with her since 2017. She saved my life. But she hasn't been in all the situations that I've been in. And I hold no ill will towards her because of that. But there's nothing like a survivor, right, Robin? There's nothing
Yes.
like a survivor's experience. Talk to me about that.
Definitely. Definitely. I agree with that. And it's like the idea of asking for help was also really hard for me as a
Mhm.
survivor. And so I want to be able to hold space for someone who feels that way, who might be hesitant to reach out, that I can relate to, they can relate, I can relate to that, and I can do things that a therapist might, who hasn't been through that experience, could do. And also, I think one thing that's different about coaching versus therapy is that we're about like making changes now, trying things out within the coaching space, the session together in a
Mhm.
safe place. And so that we can make those changes quickly and not, and it's, we can also talk about things and be here for each other.
Mhm.
But I think it's more about like taking action and setting goals and trying that out, even if it's scary.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
like, it doesn't have to take years and years to make small changes in your relationships or with yourself.
Right.
And, but there's no rush as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree. Nancy, talk to me about um I am full force behind therapy, y'all. I say it all the time. I'm full force behind therapy. But I understand and agree that there is value in coaching. I think coach is a little easier still, unfortunately, in this day and age to digest than a therapist. Therapy is still frowned upon, right? There's
Right.
still that stigma around therapy. Nancy, speak to me on your thoughts on why it's a little easier to digest going to a coach as opposed to a therapist.
A lot of times people have either had a bad experience with a therapist, been told you have to go to the therapist. So all of a sudden it's a negative.
Mhm.
And they've never been told, hey, go to a coach.
Mhm.
They've never said, hey, you need to do this. And I think the difference is the title.
I
For
think
me,
there's a lot. I think there's a
there's
lot
not.
with that.
And so a coach is there to help you and help you grow and help you get through things. I don't care if you're coaching tennis, it doesn't matter. But a therapist doesn't like that. It's here's your 50 minutes. Thank you for the $1,000, and I'll see you next week.
I challenge you on that
I
because
go
not
ahead.
all therapists, not
Okay.
all therapists are that way. I challenge you
I,
on that.
I,
Remember, you're speaking to someone who's been in therapy for
I,
many,
I
many
I
years.
agree with you there. So I think it's something that, I mean, in terms of people can have a preconceived notion about
Yeah,
that.
I
And
agree.
so I think it's something that when you are a coach, the one thing that you're going to do different, no matter how many times that word is used and thrown around,
Mhm.
the difference between that is you're a friend. And if it's 2 a.m, I'm going to answer your call.
Mhm.
And I'm going to,
There are, yeah, I agree. There are restrictions or, boundaries as there should be when it comes to therapy, for a
sure,
lot of therapists.
right.
Um, yeah, but I also know there are therapists out there that I can text my therapist on a Sunday at 2 a.m. and be like, I'm losing my, you know what? And my therapist responds. So there are therapists out there. Again, we're not going to bash anybody here.
Nope.
But I agree that because therapy it still carries such a stigma. I think coach is a little easier to digest.
May I
Talk
chime in?
to me. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So when I look at coaching versus like therapy, I
Mhm.
want to focus on, I don't have the like licenses or the, whatever schooling for therapy. So what I do is I may hear a survivor's story, and then I'll figure out where they're at right now and then how to move them forward from that position. I think the big distinction between therapy and coaching is therapy focuses on healing trauma in the past and focusing on a lot of that internal work, whereas coaching is moving somebody forward. And I believe, at least in my state, I have to stay in that here's where you are, how to get you forward through education, through your own internal work, listening, coaching, versus here's what happened in the past. How do you feel about that? What,
Mhm.
like, I can't really go into that past realm. I have to stay moving them forward.
I like that. I like that
Yeah.
you brought that up, Ranjit. I just wrote this down, where they are right now. I agree. Therapy really focuses on diving deep. Not that coaching does it, but historically therapy focuses on, let's get into where did it start? How did it begin? What are the unhealed? Coaching, what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing from all of you, some of you do start addressing some of those past traumas, but you are really focused on in the moment. And especially in this society, especially if we're in the midst of chaos, like oftentimes we need that, like, I need right now. Like, here's what I'm dealing with right now. Help me with that. Emma, tell me
Mhm.
about an example of how you deal with something like that. Someone comes to you and says, I'm falling apart right now. How would you approach that?
First of all, we look at where you are and how you feel. What have you, we do look at definitely, yeah, like what have you experienced? Because ultimately, for the way that I work with you, I want to understand your childhood patterns. I
Okay.
want to understand how, what environments you've grown up in that shaped your environment today. So, yes, we're looking at where you are now. We're looking to release all of that stored emotion as well, because obviously that has a massive effect. But yeah, we're looking at, where you are now. Like, how can we get you, like, whenever I work with someone new, we have a 2-hour session before we do anything to go, right, where are you now? Where do you want to be? It's not about where I want you to be. It's
Mm,
about where do you want to be? What does
mm,
confidence look like to you? What does self-worth look like to you? What does a healthy relationship, look like to you? What do you want from love? It's not about me. It's not about my program. It's about what you want out of it. And that's what's really important,
I
that
like that.
you're not coming into a, right, here's this program, your one-to-one program. You have to each, no, no, no. Like, we go, what's happened for you, and let's see how we can change that to better you, because that's ultimately like how we're going to get you to grow. And I think it's always important that we're never dismissing the past, we're never changing the memory as such. We're taking the pain away from the memory, we are acknowledging the memory, and we are changing the perspective on it so that you
Mm,
can live with it in a more comfortable state, and see actually what we can learn from it to better ourselves, and therefore have a happier life for what we want, not about what anybody else wants. And I think that's something, especially in these relationships, you never get to have your say, you never get to be who you want to be. So especially
Mhm.
for my own practice, it's so important that people come in and get what they want, they get heard for what they want to have. And
mhm.
because everybody's perception is different, isn't it? And we get it taken away, and it's so wrong. So it's, yeah, for my personal practice, it's about what you want, not what I want. The world wants what you want, and that's really important.
I
Mhm.
like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Robin, speak to
Yes.
me on that as well. What is your approach? You have someone coming to you and they're losing it. What's your first approach?
I think what Emma said was really empowering for the person too, especially after going through what we've gone through, is that our identity was broken down and we don't even know what we want or who we are a lot of
Hmm.
times. So I think we might start with that. Like, I have my clients center themselves,
Mm,
and I have a lot of yoga background as well. So we'll um, really try to get into the body, because the body is telling the truth. Our mind will say things that are from other people
I have to
and
write
not.
that down. That's the epitome of it. I have to write that down. Go ahead. I'm sorry,
Okay,
Cindy.
no problem. It's been a big learning for me to know that my body has been talking to me my whole life, and I was so disconnected from it. So I think that's a big part of my coaching is like, what are you feeling right now in your body? And a lot of times I'm teaching my client how to do that, how to
Yeah.
be present in the body, because it maybe wasn't even a safe place for them to be for so long. So breathing, noticing just different sensations in the body. And because I'm pretty good at that, I can guide people to do that. And sometimes I can feel where they're sensing things too, not just, they don't always have to feel it themselves. Sometimes I'm like, it seems like, I can see you're hunched over. Does it feel like a lot of things are, bringing you down? Like you're carrying a lot of heavy load or whatever. It's so interesting to me. It's beautiful how our body can just be like, actually,
And
I'm
I
not
agree that I agree. Oftentimes we don't see it. My therapist, God love her, Lord knows I love her to death, and she's a PhD psychologist. She will catch me during a session. Where are you feeling it? Damn it, Doctor. I almost said her name. Damn it! I don't want to identify where I'm feeling it in my body right now.
I
But it
know,
does.
because
It makes such a difference.
yeah.
And it does speak to us. Ranjit, I bet you come across those types of situations too, where you're being a physical personal coach. Do you work with your clients with regards to where they're feeling trauma or where they're feeling stress?
So not so much that particular aspect of it, but what I do is I try to work with them in identifying like threats through their bodies,
Mm,
how body reacts to certain people. So I work with them on
Mm,
like walking around, like you may interact with somebody and then, so many of us didn't pay attention to what our body was saying when we were interacting with a coworker, a boss, a relationship, a parent. We didn't know. Our bodies
mhm,
didn't know. So I really focus on helping people understand what they're feeling to the point that they can identify, hopefully, and this is more of a like a how aware they are to themselves, self-awareness, identifying if they're going to be engaging with somebody with, a dark triad personality. So that's where I kind of focus with that.
we were all, I'm sure, told that our feelings didn't matter. So I don't know about y'all, but I never listened to my body. I never knew how to listen to my body. So I appreciate you sharing that, Reggie. That is something that is extremely important, is recognizing when, they call it gut instinct. They call it, what else do they call it? What else am I thinking? Their aura, like something, their vibe, whatever. We have been dissuaded from listening to our bodies. Our bodies are like,
Amen the whole time, yeah.
it was built perfectly, right? I don't talk about religion. I don't want to go into religion, but this body was built pretty perfectly. The brain was built pretty perfectly, and it's doing what it was built to do. We've just been told that our feelings don't matter, that I think we have really just like, okay, no, I'm gonna put that aside. This person makes me feel uncomfortable, but it wouldn't be nice if I stopped
mhm.
talking to them, or it wouldn't be nice if so many. I love that.
Yes.
Nancy, I want to hear if someone comes to you and they're falling apart. What is your approach on that?
Well, and it depends if it's an adult or a teenager, because those things, are different with younger
Let's
people.
talk because of the space. I'm sure I know I have a very small population of young adults,
Okay.
but let's talk about adults.
If there's an adult that calls me and just said, because I get this all the time, I'm going to sit on the edge of this building and I'm just going to talk to you right now. And what I would do is I would say, okay, we're going to just back up just like a little bit, and I want to know what you're thinking right now.
Mhm,
I want to know where you are right now.
mhm,
I want to know
Mm.
how can I get you to just sit down right now, because usually they're moving or they're pacing.
mhm.
I don't want you to necessarily feel that extra anxiety that you're feeling. I want to bring you to a calm space. So I will use, there are special cues that I can use, words that I can use, that will help calm them down. And then it will also change their thinking.
Mhm.
So their cognitive thinking will change. So it won't be focused on the problem. It'll be focused on how can we fix it.
Mhm.
And
Amazing.
usually when I do that, people will be able to back up a little bit and help them see that. And how I explain that to people is this. If I'm standing next to the Eiffel Tower, I'm not going to see it. But if I back up, then it's going to come into view.
Yeah. Yeah. I think as survivors, I think it's very common for us to have difficulty being present
Mhm.
in the moment, right?
Right.
Because we always had to be on high alert. We always had to be on guard. We always had to know, no wonder most of us suffer from anxiety because the brain had to constantly be working on how to predict,
Yeah.
okay, well, if I say this, they're going to act that way. But if I say this, they're going to act that way. But if they act this way, I mean, it's this constant cycle of our brains moving every moment. I want to know an example, Ranjit, I'm coming back to you because you're really in the physical coaching aspect. What do you have your clients do when their brain is just going? What is something that you do in your space to kind of get them grounded and present?
So I can only coach them in a way that I'm familiar with. So I have ADHD, so I'm always like 100%, 120% all over the place. So throw in like hypervigilance, in there too. So what can we do? So I believe there's somebody else in here that does like yoga. So we do like box breathing. I'll work
Mhm.
with them in that. But I also try to get them to like do like a body scan. So where they're at physically right
Yes.
now, so that way they can place themselves in a place. Then I focus on the feelings, the sensations of the environment, and then we'll work towards like internal, like a safe place in their head. So like they'll build a place, and that I have them feel that as well, so they can
Mhm.
physically be in a place that they're not in, especially if they're having an issue, uh, where they need an escape, but
Yeah.
there is no escape.
Yeah. Yeah. So you incorporate a lot of grounding techniques. I hear that you incorporate a lot of movement techniques. Robin, I understand that you incorporate a lot of movement techniques. Nancy, do you incorporate any physical movement techniques in your
Absolutely.
coaching?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Perfect. And Emma, how about you? Do you have movement techniques and there's no wrong answers here, y'all. Don't worry about that. But just so that we are making sure that we present what you guys offer to everyone. Emma, do you incorporate movement techniques in your coaching?
So mine's a little bit of a mix. So it depends on the person, like what works for them. So if I've got someone who's artistic, we utilize it. We go into that artistic route. If I've got someone who's a little bit more active,
Mhm.
get out, do some steps, do some grounding techniques in nature and some mindfulness steps. If you are someone who prefers to be at home, we do some breathing techniques. And a lot of my clients, when I work with them, they have me on one-to-one WhatsApp support. So drop me a voice note. We'll talk through this together in that time, and that's also okay. It is very tailored to the person, but what I also do is an anchoring techniques in NLP. So we create a safe space in our session, and you can have a physical cue. Like some people will put their finger in their ear because that reduces anxiety, but then they'll use it as their physical anchor. Or, they'll sort of, mine's like down here on my cheek, and when we sort of, especially like when I do my embodied processing, we will then be looking to start with that safe space so you can have that imagery. So we look as well at like, especially with the neuro linguistics programming, is we're not just looking at like your physical aspects. When we look at an image of what is safe to you, what
Yes.
colors can you see? What noises can you hear? Is there anything that you can feel inside that image? And then we have like a workout. So you've got your own physical workout. So every morning you can practice that workout as such, and therefore allow yourself to start accessing that feeling of safety easier and easier each time, because practice, isn't it? It's not something that just snaps on a one-off. It is something that we have to practice, and especially with that technique, that's something we look to do in the first 2 to 3 weeks, so you can continue that and you can then access that on an easier basis. And that's important, because once again it comes back to those lifelong tools. I don't know if you've ever read Nicole Lepra. She did a book called How to Do the Work, and she's put some amazing techniques on there. So if anybody's watching and wants a book, like, that's such an incredible book. Absolutely love it. It's definitely worth the read. She's got loads of techniques in there to support that.
I love that. I love that. Robin, is
Beautiful.
there a quick fix?
No, definitely not. It's been, how long has it taken us to get away from those situations and realize, that pattern has been built over time, and definitely going to take some time to unlearn it and build different patterns and habits. Yeah, definitely.
I agree. I talk about the old tape recorder in my head a lot. If you guys watch my videos, I talk about the old tape recorder in my head a lot. Like, you've got to rewrite those tapes. We have to reprogram the brain. The brain has been doing this for so long. We have to reprogram it.
Yeah,
I want to
exactly.
give each of you some time to kind of give your marketing spiel here before we jump off. When we stop recording, I'm going to ask you guys to stay on so we can chat a little bit further. But again, this is your opportunity to kind of present exactly who you are, what your business is about. This is your commercial, essentially, so that anyone watching has an opportunity to hear what you've got to offer. And I'm only going because of how it's on my screen right now. Ranjit, let's have you go first. Let's hear your marketing commercial. Here's your PSA.
Perfect. Okay. So, I do offer the narcissistic abuse coaching. And so like, that's probably where I focus most, is helping the community and interacting directly with people there. I want to make sure that I educate the client or the person that I'm talking to. So one of my taglines is educate, empower, and elevate, because I want start with the education, then I'm going to empower that individual to stand up for themselves, to live again. And then we're going to take them from where they were. Moving forward, we're going to blast them, elevate them into the future. And so like, that's what my program is about there. I also do one-on-one life coaching. I believe there's somebody else in here who does like an ICF methodology of coaching, which isn't really telling people what to do. It's about finding out what they want to do and helping them and holding them accountable to their own plan. I do health coaching, personal training, martial arts, meditation, like yoga. So like, it's all there, and it's more of a whole body approach to wellness with a very specific narcissistic abuse, dark triad personality, DVSA, survivor tool.
Thank you. That's awesome. Are you open to all ages, all genders, all demographics?
Yeah, I don't mind working with anybody. I've worked with children. I've worked with women, men, coworkers. Like, I mean, I talk to everybody that needs help, that
Perfect.
wants help, because remember, they have to want to help themselves.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ranjit. Nancy, let's go with you, honey. Here's your commercial.
Thank you so much. It is an honor to be here. My main goal is to let people find their own voice, find their own heart, find their own space, and build their own life. I am a narcissistic abuse professional for 25 years. And if there's anything that anybody needs, I want to make sure that they can get that, to know that they are enough. They always were, and they always will be.
Preach. Thank you,
Beautiful.
Nancy. Emma, here you go, love.
Thank you, darling. So I'm Emma J. Walsh Coaching. I am a relationship coach, but I am not focusing on couples relationships. It is very much people who have been in toxic relationships, whether that is with a narcissist, whether they've been in the anxious, avoidant, push-pull dynamic, or they have been in several failed toxic relationships, and they really want to start overcoming the heartbreaks and ultimately dealing with your childhood traumas to improve where you are today, to allow you to be in that healthy relationship and really take those tools for life. Very much dealing with women who, just because of my own personal background of, being very driven, it's now really as well like affecting your work balance as well and your personal career, and really helping you take those steps forward to become the person that you want to be and really break free of actually the past that is holding you back, whether that is as well those childhood, like I say, those childhood traumas are so important. And I do several different things. I do 2 one-to-one courses, one that's 6 weeks, one that's 12 weeks, which is entirely down to you, but they're both bespoke. I also offer a 6-month group coaching program so that, and those that join me on my 12-week, they get that in that package as well. So they get 9 months of, me, because it's me. You're not buying a program, because we're here as a team to get you through this together in a way that is safe, in a way that feels comfortable for you, and in a way that's honest. I'm not the coach just gonna I'm gonna be soft. I will keep you accountable, but at the same time, I'm not gonna be unrealistic with you. I will be very honest, and that's how I will support you in becoming the person that you want to be. Right. So yeah. On Facebook, on Instagram. Facebook, I tend to offer a lot of free value. I have got a free ebook as well that's out, and I've got another, which I'm really excited for, product coming out, but I don't want to give away too many secrets. But this will be filled with so many at-home techniques that you can use to overcome certain elements of your heartbreak, and they're all broken down into easy steps for you to follow as well, off the back of my own, like we discussed in the beginning, seeing online social media trends which actually lead us to a dead end place. So this will be really helpful, and I'm excited to share it for everyone to use.
Thank you. Robin, you're up, love.
Okay. Hi, I'm Robin Patnoy. I'm a relationship coach, and I offer for women and men a way to enhance your relationships. I teach workshops to groups on active listening, setting boundaries, how to handle conflict, and I specialize in helping women and men overcome their toxic past relationships, and in order to learn how to communicate better with their next relationships or with their children. We practice in session on how to speak our needs and wants so that you can create that secure, safe, and reciprocal relationship so that you can have a more fulfilling life. But it all starts with your relationship with yourself as well, and giving yourself compassion and love and forgiveness for your past as well.
I love that. I love that. I'm so grateful that you have all been here. Yeah,
Thank you.
I appreciate the conversation. I'm going to ask all of you to hold on. I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording now.
That was a pretty amazing conversation. I think this gave a good representation of what additional help there might be out there for victims and survivors. When you're looking for a coach, find what works for you. They can add value. I can see where that could happen. Check their pricing, check what they offer, check what they focus on. I say it all the time when it comes to therapists. You got to try on a lot of them before you find the right fit. Hopefully you found something here that will help you on your journey. As always, y'all go be unbreakable.